Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are making pumpkin cheesecake bars. These are a slight variation of the churro cheesecake bars that I posted last year. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. I'm excited to share it with you, and let's get started. For this recipe, I actually halved the original recipe of the churro cheesecake bars. So I'm only going to need 1 tube of crescent rolls, and I like to use the Hawaiian flavored, 1 block of cream cheese, 1/3 cup of sugar, and 2 eggs. Now we're going to go ahead and beat all of these ingredients together, and as you will see in a few minutes and in later takes in the video, my cream cheese did not cream all the way, and this was because one of my eggs was cold. So definitely make sure that all of your ingredients are at room temperature. And I also advise to actually cream the cream cheese and the sugar alone, and then adding in the eggs to prevent this from happening to you, because I did think that once I put it into the oven, the cream cheese was going to just melt or like become one with the pumpkin, but it didn't. So I'm just letting you know that this is what happened to me, and that's how you can fix it. Now I'm adding in half of a can of pumpkin puree. I'm adding in 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1/4 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice flavor. This is completely optional. You don't need to add in this part, but I had it on hand and I wanted to test out and see how much the flavor would change. And now we're simply going to mix these ingredients into the rest of our batter, and we're going to just mix until all of these ingredients incorporate it and we no longer see them separate. Also, you'll be able to see here exactly what I was talking about the cream cheese earlier, which is where it did not cream so well. So make sure that you follow the tips that I gave you so that this does not happen to you. As you guys probably know, every time that I make a recipe, there is ingredients involved, there's money that is invested into these recipes. I didn't want to throw away this recipe because the flavor was actually excellent, but I also wasn't sure if I was going to show you guys this tutorial because of this right here, but I decided to edit it and upload it anyway so that you guys can try this at home and probably even make better pumpkin cheesecake bars than I did. As I mentioned before, we are making half of the churro cheesecake bar recipe, the original. So this pan is a different size. I will leave that in the description box below. But I basically prepared it by spraying nonstick spray all over the pan. And now I'm simply sprinkling cinnamon sugar all over the edges and the bottom of the pan so that when our crescent pumpkin cheesecake bars bake, they will have this slight cinnamon sugar flavor all over them. And now comes the fun part of opening up these cans. I don't know if anyone else freaks out when opening a can of biscuits like I do, but I actually had my husband help me with this. He had actually never done this before, so he ended up stabbing a little bit of the crescent dough, but it's totally fine because we're going to take it out and just roll it out or form it with our fingers anyway. So once you've popped out your biscuits, or not your biscuits, but your crescents, just take the dough apart and just roll it out into a big sheet. And actually, if you're able to find the sheet at your local grocery store and not the crescent ones that are marked already, those work even better. But I basically took half of that roll, and I'm just going to go ahead and place it on the bottom of the pan, and with my fingers I'm going to extend the dough to the edges, and I'm also going to try and just patch up the little creases that are already marked. So like I said, if you can find the sheet of dough, it's a lot better, it's a lot easier. And now we're simply going to take our batter and just place it right on top of the dough, and make sure to get every single little piece off of your bowl, because this, although it doesn't look too good because of the little crumbly bits of cream cheese, I promise you it tastes like pumpkin cheesecake. So make sure to scrape it all in there. And then as you see here on the side, what I'm basically doing is I'm trying to patch up the little stitches or the little marked lines that are on this piece of dough, because we are going to take this piece and place it right on top of our batter. And since the batter is a little bit squishy and watery, we can't do the same technique that we used for the first part of the dough. So just do it as good as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. This looks good to me. And now we're going to take the remaining cinnamon sugar and just sprinkle it all over the top of our prepared pumpkin cheesecake bars. I feel like the cinnamon sugar is what gives it those fall vibes, the churro flavor. So be sure to be generous when sprinkling this on top. And now we're going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. And once your oven is preheated, place your churro cheesecake in there and bake it for 30 minutes. This is what the finished product looks like. This is how it came out. It looks so delicious. And I'm also going to give you a little tip when cutting brownies or when cutting desserts like these that have fillings. It's a lot easier to cut these types of desserts while they are still warm using a plastic knife. You'll get the cleanest cuts compared to using a metal knife. So be sure to cut this while it is still warm using just a little old plastic knife. And then once you're done, just throw it away. Now comes the part where I show you the inside, and as you can see here, the first slice of anything is usually always the hardest one to get out. So I went ahead and took one from the corner. Like I said before, I do provide ways for you to fix the mistake that I did as far as the cream cheese, so be sure to listen to the video in its entirety. Thank you so much for watching my new tutorial. Be sure to tag me on Instagram, Facebook if you do end up making these. Don't forget to share this recipe with a friend. Check the description box for the ingredients. Visit my website to find the full written recipe. Subscribe before you go, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.